with the answers. He's the Deputy Attorney General of the United States. Todd Blanche is with us. You're number 2 at the DOJ, Todd. You're doing a great job. Thank you. Thank you for being with us. Please shed light, because I found that extremely alarming.
I hope you found it alarming, and so did I, and so did hopefully every American. You had members of Congress, members of the Senate, encouraging members of our military and members of our intelligence community to go and defy orders. And by the way, there is nothing illegal about what we are doing. There is nothing illegal about what President Trump is doing every single day. To the contrary, he's doing exactly what he said he would do when he won a year ago. And this is abhorrent conduct. I felt like I was watching a propaganda video by one of our enemies trying to recruit the military to become spies. When you see what these men and women were saying about this administration, about this president, and you ask whether what they did is a crime, I mean, you tell me what it is. You tell me what it is. I mean, what is the value? What is the reason for saying what they said, except for to encourage members of our military, to encourage members of our intelligence community to defy a direct command from their superior, and that is wrong.
Your resume as an attorney and your background and experience lends me to believe that you know the answer to the question you're asking me. You're number 2 at the DOJ. Does this need to be investigated, and what would the investigation be under?
Well, the investigation would absolutely be under what their intent was in saying this. And the question, we've all watched this a lot today, and the question you have to ask yourself is, what is their intent? What is the reason that they all went on a video and encouraged young men and women to defy court orders without even giving a hint of what's illegal, without even giving any suggestion of what law or what order they're being asked to violate? You cannot do that in this country, especially if you're a leader. And so what does the investigation look like? I think they should be held to account. I think that those congressmen should be required to answer questions and to answer questions about why they did what they did. And the American people deserve that, and so does President Trump.
Deputy Attorney General, let me put back on the screen, if I may, 18 U.S. Code 2383, and I will go over it one more time. We'll put it up on the screen. It says, whoever incites, sets on foot, assists, or engages in any rebellion or insurrection against the authority of the United States or the laws thereof, or gives aid or comfort thereto, shall be fined under this title or imprisoned not more than 10 years or both, and shall be incapable of holding any office under the United States. Do you suspect these 6 lawmakers are guilty of this?
Look, I'm not convicting anybody tonight on this show, but I will tell you something, and that is this is a disgusting and inappropriate display of supposed leadership from the Democrat Party. These men and women should not have described themselves as former members of the military or former members of the intelligence community. They should have described themselves as Democrats who lost and Democrats who don't like the result of last November, because there is no laws being violated. There are no orders that are being given that are unconstitutional or illegal. And the fact that these folks came out and encouraged our young men and women, who are many of them armed, to defy court orders is something that we have to take a very close look at. And I promise you, Sean, that we will.
And can I interpret that, sir, to mean that there's an investigation underway?
Look, Sean, we don't talk about investigations, but
you got to give me A+ for trying, Todd. I'm trying, but I understand you can't. I do have a job to do, but look, this is very serious to me, and obviously to you as well. Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche, we always appreciate you coming on. Thank you. Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.